Lokesh, I'm good.
Okay, can we start with little a kind of introduction with what all you are doing and in the field of education industry in competitive exams as well?
Sure. So, Lokesh, as you are aware, I've been associated with the education industry for almost 12 to 13 years now,
Okay.
teaching students and guiding students on competitive exams and overall their careers as such. And I've been working with time as well.
Okay.
And it has been a fruitful exercise for me. I have learned a lot. I think I have contributed to the child's education in a much better manner as well.
Right. Okay. So you are mostly into 11th, 12th plus JE preparation, right? The guys who are preparing for GE, and your subject is mathematics, right?
Yes. I would like to believe that I have some good hold over mathematics and physics, and that is where I've been guiding students
Okay.
On these subjects as such.
Can you just in a very short statement, can you just put a light on what is currently happening with the kids who are preparing for competitive exam after 10th standard because of the pandemic suddenly happened, and there's a transformation of education industry, coming from the classroom directly to the digital platform. So every kid is isolated, like they are isolated, kind of isolation, and they are not having kind of social bonding or a group studies or something like that. It's like sudden transformation happened. So can you put a highlight on that front, as in what is happening to kid in current scenario, as in?
So Lokesh, I think the way it is new for students, it is as similar as it is as new as for maybe for us teachers or you as mentors as well, because this is like once in a century situation where something of a physical bonding, or there's absence of physical bonding as such. And I think this is where a lot of mentorship and more guidance on more importance is needed to understanding the student's psyche rather than guiding the students on solving the problem. So I think solving the problem would be one aspect, but understanding the student's psyche, how and what they are going through in this daily mind, or what is the entire psyche, and how we can actually guide them, or how we can rope in mentors like what we are doing to help ensure that they are on the right path. Because ultimately, if you are working in silos, or if you are doing your mathematics or physics in silos, you may or may not be able to connect much more with what is actually happening in the real life. And that is where I think it is much more important to have that connect, or continuous connect, I would say, with the students.
Yeah, you mean to say the continuity of the studies. So they need someone to hold their momentum and carry on with their continuity of the study. That is very important currently, as in like this way, because the environment.
I think momentum is a very very correct word what you have put in, because I mean, be it any teaching faculty or any teaching institute, they would be associated with the students or with the entire batch for, let's say, a batch of 35 people for a period of 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours a day. However, what is the kind of personal attention which a teacher would be able to give? In that case, I think after the class is over, what he needs to do in a much more planned manner, that is where I think we need to have a larger association with students, or that is where the parents also, because parents are also a kind of mentor, they come into picture.
Okay, so I the point is that here we would like to talk on that. What do you think that there is a limitation to the faculty and the coaching institution for the kids' growth, like that way?
So I mean, frankly, since I've been associated with teaching, I wouldn't say it's a limitation, but I would say that because we are, I mean, the entire coaching industry is looked as a solution provider rather than a guidance provider. So it is from parents' perspective also that the entire perspective also change. And obviously, as an industry also, we need to evolve from a solution, from a competitive exam cracking guidance institute to a guidance provider overall, when how to crack the entire life code. I think cracking IIT JEE would be just one hurdle, but I think they have to crack the entire life code, which I mean, you might agree as such. So I think this is where the role of a mentor also comes into picture. Now, a mentor can be anybody. I can also be an extended mentor in terms of students. A parent can also act as a mentor, or maybe elder brother can also act as a mentor, or maybe somebody who has been there, done that kind of phase, so that he or she can also act as a mentor. Now, a professional mentor, let's say somebody like Lokesh, I mean, you have been associated and we have been working along. So that's why I'm able to name you. So you are like a professional mentor because you have been on the coaching side, you know how, what kind of exams are going on, and you also understand that it is something beyond teaching. So it is not that x plus y is equal to z. It is like x plus y equal to z, that everybody can teach. But after that, I think you need to understand that faculties can do a limitation. I mean, faculties have some kind of limitation because of there are X number of students in a batch, but a certain number of students might require extra guidance in terms of not understanding the concept, but in terms of how to approach the exam. So it is all about approaching and how about guidance on their approaching. And I think that is where we can push the entire change in behavior towards achieving the best outcome of our learning as such. So
Yeah,
it
it's
is
like,
learning plus guidance.
right. So it's like you are saying again, the point comes to the momentum and the continuity of the studies, because most of the students, what we have seen is that if they're not getting the proper result or the desired result, after some time they give up, So there's a logic behind why they give up. So if we work out on that particular logic and the mindset of the kid, and slowly and steady groom the kid in the right approach or right track, I think the mentorship plays a very critical role in that. Apart from coaching and the faculties who usually groom the kids on technical front. Technical means like academic front, as in this way. So this is
So
yeah.
I would like to believe that a mentor is not necessarily a technical geek, but who understands the psyche of the students, who have been associated with students for a long enough time. Because right now we are in the world of instant gratification. I put in 2 hours of hard work, I need immediate result. Now that sometimes may or may not happen in students' life. You need to put in hard work, and the results will show in after a certain period of time. So in that phase where results are not being shown, I think that is where the mentor comes into picture. So I mean, that is where you need to ensure that the students is equally motivated to put in long hours, or to maybe change their approach also. So
Yeah,
maybe if
every kid
I'm not
is,
able,
the point is
every
that
kid is special as
yeah, every kid is unique, and they has to have a unique approach for the kid, and that is not possible for the faculties of the coaching institution, or like this way. So mentor and the coaching institution and the faculty, the amalgamation of all three will be a win-win situation for coaching institution, because coaching institution by default will be getting a much better rank of the number of students, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, definitely. I mean, see, there are various ways in which you can put this mentor word as such. Sometimes you call them as a counselors, sometimes you call them as a mentor, sometimes you call them as a father figure. Now, wherein, so for each student or for each institute, wherein you fit in this roles. So because we also try to inculcate a lot of, theories into parents, so that they are also involved in the entire growth of child. But sometimes, or maybe in this entire scenario where parents are not able to pitch in that much of I would say involvement, that is where a third party comes into picture. That is where a counselor or a mentor or somebody like you would play an important role as such, where you have a personal mentor to student, which is a win-win for entire coaching institute, because ultimately I am teaching them some concepts, but you are ensuring that the concept are further learned, and
And
maybe
digest.
and are digested well as such. Because I
Right.
am when I'm teaching, I am teaching from the perspective that it is for the entire batch of 30-35 people. Although personal attention is definitely given, I would not say that it is completely avoided, but it is definitely given. But after a certain point, for maybe a achiever to become a super achiever, you need that extra push, which might be given by, let's say, a father or a counselor or maybe a teacher like me, or maybe somebody like a mentor like you, somebody who is struggling and who is right now in the phase of comparing with their peers. So they might also need some different approach altogether. So it is all customization, and that is where you need mentors of different ability. I'm not saying mentors would be like a strict timetable provider, but let's say just pat on the back, or maybe carrot and stick approach, or maybe just talking to them so that I can understand what is their psyche all about. Why do they want to crack any exam, be it IIT, JEE, NDAs, or maybe CAT, CET, whatever. So
Yeah.
understanding their psyche, or maybe having a father figure, so that we can be involved in their entire journey, because they're also undergoing a journey. And the adolescence age is such that you might be easily distracted, you might be easily motivated also. So you need to ensure that the motivation period lasts long for the entire 2 years, so that the entire result, ultimately what we want is coming out with flying colors. So the whichever way we take it, is I think the entire the final aim has to be achieved.
Yeah. So my next question, like I'm doing a lot of mentorship to a lot of kids from different coaching institution. I have observed up to 10th standard, they are into school. Their mindset is to give the examination related to the school examination subjective type. And I have observed many kids who have passed whole 11th standard in a coaching institution. After having a 1 year completed in that particular coaching institution, they have not gained the proper approach or of how to attempt the exam, which is on basis of the competitive exam. So they are facing some problems. So can you just give a highlight on what are the difference between the subjective pattern of school examination and the competitive exams, on that front, and why students are a little uncertain about knowing about the approach of the competitive exams?
So competitive exam is not knowing everything and anything as such. So competitive exam is basically understanding what is required to come out as an achiever, or maybe come out in that top 1 or 5.5 percentile as such. So it is about time management, it is about pressure management, and definitely it is about concept learning as well. Whereas in the first 10 standards, we all learn about, let's say, some concepts. Either I know the concept. If I know the concept, I draw a diagram, I write about 10 sentences about it, and I easily clear about it. That is not how a 12th, post 12th it will work. You will have certain options, and you will have to work out your way, so that, and you will have to decide whether this question usually deserves that much amount of time as well. So it is, as I said, it is time management, pressure management, and then making choices. Ultimately life is about making choices.
Yeah.
If you make hard choices, then ultimately you will not be able to succeed in life. If you make uh, easy choices, if I let's say if I start my paper with physics altogether, which is my, let's say, my strong point, I get that confidence, and then ultimately that confidence creeps into chemistry and then biology and then maths as such. So that needs to be understood, that needs to be taught to students, that it is not that it is question versus student. It is not question versus student, it is student versus the entire paper. So it is not that I should be stuck at one particular question. I'm talking about objective questions right now. I mean, in terms of subjective, obviously it might be a little extension of the entire 1 to 10th what we have done, but ultimately it is about making choices and making smart choices.
Yeah, true. And the next question I would like to ask you, can you just highlight something on the importance of the mentor on the kid who is preparing for competitive exams in the 11th and 12th, or whenever they are in the transition state of getting from immaturity to mature, and so much of pressure in that, in that particular scenario, how the mentor plays a role in that?
So I mean, as I pointed out earlier in the interview as well, that a mentor is somebody who will have to change his or her approach depending on the student. If the student is already doing great and you need only that extra delta, some bit of delta to come out, you will have to certainly challenge that particular student, that yes, this is good, but ultimately if you have to achieve this much, this is what achievers do. It is like a coaching. So coaching in the sense of a real life coach, a life coach as such. In terms of people who are struggling, I think in that case, mentors will have to change their approach altogether, and maybe inculcate some habits or some, I would not say strict, but little difficult challenges for ultimately
Yeah,
the
making a
student to
kind of
achieve.
friendly approach, or a companion with the
Yes.
kid who can day-to-day activity can design and can work out with the student caliber and the capacity and getting a proper result out of that. So if I'll
So,
talk about, yeah, if I talk about
yes.
mentorship, if you just give your views on the mentorship on 3 perspectives, like say mentor for parents, mentor for a coaching institution, and mentor for a kid. If you can just give a little highlight on this 3 point, that like what is, yeah, importance of the mentorship on these three, like you can
So,
say,
so
domains.
So, right, in this current scenario, I would say where students want to give the best of best facilities to to their own child, I think that is where a mentor can come in and make the parents also understand that everything is not to be uh, given on a platter. I think sometimes students will also have to earn those laurels as such, and that is where uh, at least as for a mentor will have to act as a bridge between parents and their kids as
Yeah,
such,
parents'
because sometimes
expectations. Right.
because parents expectations might be different, students current capabilities might be different. Secondly, student would like to approach certain exams or certain things in a different manner. So, and ultimately we will have to understand what is their aim in life and how we can guide them in those particular things as such. So it is those small one-to-one conversations which you as a mentor would be having definitely, which will help them understand those nuances and maybe change their approach if needed as such. Mentor as for a coaching institute would be something like, once I have taught those concepts, I think I would like to pass the baton to a counselor or a mentor, so that he can ensure that he or she can ensure that, okay, once the concepts have been taught, what are the different ways in which the concepts can be learned or maybe executed in a much proper manner. So maybe going through the exercises, going through different videos. Now you have a lot of videos available, giving all these guidances to the students. I mean, because ultimately, this is like an extension or to a coaching institute. This is not something which is coaching institute versus mentorship. This is like coaching institute and mentorship.
Right. True.
So,
Yeah.
so this is where how I look as mentorship as a overall a building block in a student's career.
Okay. And then even in the case of parents also, I have seen many parents are just banking on the kid and the coaching institution. And after 1 year got passed and many months get passed, they don't get the result, proper result, because parents do not have the technical know-how of how and what should be the approach of competitive examinations and all. So there are many parents coming up to me and they talking about the kids' performance and the expectation and all. So I believe the mentor plays a very critical role, or can be a second guardian to a kid who take care of the overall performance of the kid and getting the best out of the kid's capacity. So this is
I,
my
I
observation.
agree with you. I think second guardian is a very important word here. Not necessarily that parents do not have that idea. Parents might have given their competitive exams in their time, and definitely the curriculums have changed. The entire approach has been changed, and even the competition has been much aggressive. So all these things, parents may not be in the best of touch, and this is where the mentors come into picture, act as a second guardian, because obviously kids might have certain reservations opening up to parents. So it is more of a psychological plus a father figure plus a technical know-how person. This is
Yeah.
how a combination of a mentor I mean, this is how a mentor should work as such. It is not purely technical, because purely technical is what something coaching institutes are already. It is not purely psychological, because then obviously it becomes playing with psyche of the kids. It is like a combination of thoda this and thoda that, so that it works at a winning combination. Ultimate aim is to ensure that the kids come out with flying colors.
Yes. So Kunal, I will not take much of your time, as in we'll make it this video very short. So my like final question to you is that, can you share some experience of any of your kid? Like I know we know a couple of kids who are taking technical academic knowledge from your end, and they took my mentorship during the course of their preparation for a JEE examination in 11th as well as 12th. Can you just give a little highlight on what all you observe in that particular duration of your kid being mentored by me as well?
I think overall mentorship and specifically mentorship by you, Lokesh, has been a wonderful experience. And I could see that there has been transformation in many students as such towards achieving their level best. And maybe, the parents' expectations were also being met in this case. Not necessarily for a achiever student, but also for somebody who was lagging behind. I think the entire journey has been helpful for them, because they could understand the purpose or maybe the approach needed to achieve those results. So I would say the entire, I mean, this has been a fruitful exercise, and kids have been happy enough to share their success results post your mentorship programs as such, and their preparations are in line, or they have come out with flying colors in the last year as such.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Kunal. Finally, would you, as in my whole mentorship process and what all I do with the kids and everything in and out. Would like to have some feedback on the thing which I delivered to the kid, something like that from your end. I think.
Yeah,
Any
I mean,
feedback?
as I said that yes, definitely mentorship is needed in today's world, not only for kids, but I think for anybody who wants to succeed in life. As a feedback, I mean, I only believe that, as I said, it has to be a combination of psychological father figure plus technical. It has to be an equal part of all this. It cannot be one more and one lesser, because ultimately it is how the entire industry has to blossom, and it is how I mean, otherwise it becomes teaching institute versus or something. This is not that case. I think we'll have to work hand in hand so that ultimate result, that is students benefit or students coming out or students excelling, is being met as such. So I believe that this is something which will definitely improve as and when we have a long-term relationship. And this is something which will obviously be something required for the future as well, where the pressures will have to be succumbed by the mentors and equally by the coaching institute, so that they can devise new ideas and new ways in which we can deliver results for the students.
Okay. So Kunal, final, we are going to close this interview. Your final message to the student and parents, as in, like, what will be your final message, as in, which you would like to share with them in a very short span of
I
time.
think coaching institutes are definitely trying to do their level best in ensuring that kids are getting the concepts or the entire approach of competitive exams getting corrected. Uh, in this scenario, or maybe going forward, we definitely need a coach whom we can look up to, whom we can open up more in a more relaxed manner, and that is where something like a mentor will also come into picture. Parents are obviously there who want the best out of kids, but I think as an industry or maybe as a ecosystem, mentors and coaching institute and parents are the three building blocks, and we will have to work hand in hand.
Okay. So, Kunal, thank you so much for our time. And I really appreciate the way you have explained the importance of the mentorship for a kid growth, along with whatever coaching or wherever coaching institution or he or she is going. So once again, I'll catch you up in the future. And thank you so much for your time. So thank you, Kunal. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
Lokesh. Thank you.
Thank you,
Take care.
parents. Thank you, teachers, and thank you, kids, to have a look at this video. And we'll do our level best, keeping kids' progress and growth in our mind. Thank you so much.